Hi, welcome to Becomingamanc. Today we got Daniel Chu from Wings, my favorite Chinese restaurant. Enjoy the episodes. So who are you? Where you from? What you do?
I'm Daniel. I own Wings in the city centre of Manchester. So we have a restaurant and a takeaway in the Arndale. I was actually born here in Salford, so when it's saying Becomingamanc, or it's difficult for me to grasp because I feel I've kind of grown up into it.
Yeah, but Becomingamanc is more what Manchester done for you, like Manchester done for me. And that's it. And then, I think because we both on hospitality, and with the way the hospitality goes, and things changed over the years. And, your dad was the founder of Wings, isn't it? What does he do now? He's still involved? Or?
No, he's fully let go. I took over just before COVID around time for the restaurant.
The best time to take over the restaurant, yeah.
Bit of a baptism of fire, but it was interesting taking over at that time. But I think the most difficult thing is mentally trying to get over what was going on at the time. We kind of tried to take a more positive spin on it. Everyone's kind of in the same boat. We even though I've been in the company for a while, for us to put our own kind of imprint on the business, it was a good way to kind of reset. And I actually feel like I learned a lot more about our brand and the actual restaurant more through that COVID period.
You've heard. I think it was reflection time for most of the people in the restaurant. I think I've done the same. I think it was the only time we could sit down and do nothing in theory, and then think about what we done before or what can we do better. And the main thing, if we're going to reopen, that was my main thing to think, because we didn't know that time, and nobody been involved in something like that before.
Yeah.
So
I mean, for us, I think it was fully survival mode. Looking at it, it was probably a lot easier for us because we're a small business to kind of adapt to a lot of things, because you were literally looking like 2 weeks ahead, especially during the first lockdown. Are we going to, like you say, reopen, or what's going to have the implications when we do reopen? So it was a lot easier for us to put things into motions rather than maybe like a larger company.
What do you think has changed in hospitality since then? Is it gone better? What hasn't? Yeah, that's good.
For me, it's about balance. The thing I struggle with the most is that kind of concept of not just like the inner workings of the business balance, but also, your customers and everything. I feel that has just shifted completely. My personal experience is staffing is a lot more important because it's so difficult to find staff, not even just like good staff in general.
Yeah, we all on the same boat, and we all staff is I would say people before you, and I think the main focus today is staff. It's more than anything else. You got a restaurant, you got a good restaurant. You can cook. You can serve so many people, but without staff, without people work for you, it's difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the costs were shifted the balance a lot, because I feel that in hospitality, the change in costs, there's only so much you can charge and put to the customer to kind of offset that. I feel that was probably the most difficult, on top of the staff, to keep the balance between survival and kind of making money was kind of put to the back of my mind.
I'm sure the year where your dad was in charge, it would have been completely different, because everything was cheap. Even labor was cheap at that time. I think that you jumped in a big restaurant where everything went all over. So you had to adjust your way, you had to adjust everything. Just because I'm sure your daddy won't be happy, but I'm sure he had the easy way.
I can't say, I don't want to speak too much on his behalf, but I do know that he went through a lot of problems getting to there. So the Wings brand started in Chillerhume, a small restaurant over 20 years ago, and then about 20 years to this day, this year, we moved to our current location, which is in Lincoln Square. Moving from a very small town compared to city centre, I could imagine it's quite scary. I was still fairly young then, but I could sense, my parents were still in two minds about it. It was a risk, definitely. And
then he paid off anyway, no?
Yeah, I mean, he managed to find a very, I'd say we're a very niche restaurant. And in terms of the differences between what we had then and now, I don't think as a concept we've changed too much. Possibly the inner workings have changed the most, but we're still a quite intimate venue, white tablecloth, more adaptive to the customers who come in, more personalized service. Even though it's been quite a long time, I feel that kind of our brand and the niche that we have is still very similar.
Nothing changed from what it was before to now. The only thing is adjust is the price and the cost of,
Yeah, we still have some customers who come in and say that they came into this Chillerhume restaurant, and then they kind of look at the menu and it's like, yes, the price is a little bit different back then.
And then the new thing is gonna, everything we're going through at the moment, because it's not, it's good. Personally, I think the last couple of months it wasn't good, but now start to get better. You think it's gonna grow in better, or with the recession and many things, you think we're gonna still struggling? And I don't say struggling because I don't think it's the right word to say, but can we go back to the way we were before? Maybe. Well,
I don't think we can go too similar to what we were. I think it will get better. And I think, like you say, recently it's been a lot better. I think our last Christmas was probably the first Christmas we actually felt that this was a good time for us in terms of previous Christmases. I personally think Manchester is going to still change a lot. There's just so much going on. And
so much going on that we got to adjust every day. We got to make sure we can do, and many restaurants open as well. So you got to have a competition there to say, another Chinese, another Italian, another French, another. So we always like looking for the next thing. And for the city as a whole, I think it's great. I think especially the buildings that are going up, there's some incredible projects going on. You got the W not far from you, isn't it?
That's going to be incredible. St. Michael's.
Yeah.
I mean, even the viaducts that reopened, just finished next to the Hilton, looks incredible. And they're going to do the second tower as well. So
there's going to be an hotel, isn't there, next to the pub?
Yeah. There's St. Michael's, I think, is maybe 3 or 4 years away. So I think that is going to elevate Manchester to the next level, like a W Hotel in Manchester. Who would have thought? And then you've got places like Soho House opening maybe end of this year.
It's a
lot of big
I think I'm excited with all this new brand coming in. Like we had Sexy Fish just opened as well. So, I think we start to get the vibe of London, but in a small scale.
But I like the concepts like Sexy Fish. I think is great because it might not be for everyone, but what they do, they've done well, and it brings another kind of angle to Manchester. So
I agree with you. We need this big brand coming in to shake everything up, and then people come in town to see them, but at the same time they're going to try something else, and then they start to know the city as well. Because I still think a lot of people, they don't come to town like they used to do before.
Yeah. I kind of worried a little bit especially if you look at our high street, maybe 10 to 15 years ago, there was a lot more shops on Market Street. Now,
King Street was all over. Now it's half open, isn't it?
I mean, like now I'm thinking Market Street is a lot of, coffee shops and banks, and back then it didn't used to be like that. So I was a little bit worried because my other shop is in the Arndale as well. So trying to look into the future a little bit, when I was not even just like working there, I felt a little bit of the pressure of, the internet coming in, very easy to buy online. A lot of people don't come into town to go shopping as much anymore.
I don't really go to that side of the town. But that's, I think I was on Market Street the other day, and it was quite busy. It was like people, I don't know if these people, they all go to spend the money in shops or they go to restaurants, I'm not sure. But was enough people. I think as a city, I've seen over the 30 years, it's getting better and better and better. Of course, with everything that's going on, sometimes you get the downside. But I think it's still people going around and they won't spend the money, but things gone up as well. So they need to be careful what they're doing. Where you see your restaurant going?
We've just finished our refurbishment, which is something that I wanted to do when I initially took over, because the brand was a little bit in decline. I can tell that my dad was slowing down a little bit, which is why I think he decided to let go of everything. But COVID hit, that put us back a little bit. So we feel really fortunate to be in this kind of situation. Really lucky to have the people we met through the restaurant to help facilitate it as well. One of our biggest supporters is Fred Doan, who helped facilitate our refurbishment. So we couldn't have been in better hands. He introduced us to Lee McCarran, who did an incredible job, who runs Domus, doing a lot of construction work in Manchester, and then introduced us to
one of the big boys to redo the restaurant.
I still need to pinch myself sometimes when realizing, that the people who we meet in the restaurant, and even just have like a conversation like this with. But yeah, we did have other people come and look at the restaurant to do the renovation, but I think during COVID everyone became so busy, and we had people just come in and they looked around, and I think they realized how small the job was, and then just didn't take it. But I'm not sure what the process for you. You've just done up yours.
Just done corner change, yeah. But we use the same people. Daniel James, if anybody want to know, who's doing my restaurant. They're great. They done the first job they done for us was this gate. I met them on that site. And then we worked very, very well together. The delivery was incredible. The rest looks amazing. So we decided to redo the corner change as well. Very different from the two. That's why we had to, change that as well. But what I've got now back to me is, why didn't you change it? And it's like we liked what it was before. It was more intimate. It was more, but I personally didn't like it. I think for me it was knackered. The rest was knackered. It needs a big refurb, and that's what we done. But when people say to you, I liked it before, and say, I just spent so much money. You should have told me before, and then I wouldn't done anything. I would have left it the way it was. But you know what? It's you're moving in with the time. You got to do it as much. I still remember my first place when we opened. Corner's change was only small and was cozy. It was 7 tables. Was nothing there. I still remember that. And then I loved that time. I think it was the best time we had in Salvis. It was just you coming in, you have a good pasta, good glass wine, and you go home smiling. I say, I think when you start to go big and you start to go make many things, you gotta look different angles. I still enjoy, I still love it. I still, I will never give up, and I will never change anything. Whatever I've done it. But yeah, I think is similar to. I would like my son one day or my daughter to take over my restaurant. So that I'm sure your dad was thinking the same at that time. He's been lucky with you because you proved to him you can do it.
My side, I was terrified of the restaurant, even like picking up the phone. I remember going to the restaurant and it's like, I couldn't do that. Yeah, because I was more of an operations guy for the takeaways that we had. So I was more of, hands-on kind of thing rather than more of the intricate details that you have like running a restaurant. So the background was completely different because not many people know that we actually started off with, the market stalls like the Jazz Festival, the Olympics, the big screen just above your store in College.
I remember the Olympic. Oh, yeah. We had a good time then as well.
It was just so weather dependent. I mean, you could have the best day when the sun's out. When it rained, you could probably like count the number of customers per hour on your hands. Just like it was a long day if it rained.
But thought about the Olympic when I think we just opened Icon Exchange, and then we had remember we had the big screen there, so everybody come in the square, and then the council come to us and go, we're gonna put a platform, on the stepping stone.
Yeah.
Platform there, every restaurant can share, can put tables there. So instead to be, because we all had outside area, we will put it outside on the other side so people can watch TV. So that's fine, great. So they put this massive thing in front of our shops, our service, and so we ended up taking the full platform. Okay, we had 150 seats, come from 7 tables. Small kitchen, just a deli counter, and running like
it was madness.
It was madness, and for us, it was like seven tables, and maybe we had about 20-25 outside, just outside the restaurant, going for 150 plus one outside, plus one inside. And we're like, are we crazy or But we managed. It was so good, and I think from there we realized. What we got is good, and we gotta, we can grow. We can, we can make something very good, about this. But
exactly it. Like when you just push so far your comfort zone, you just kind of learn just on the fly. It's you learn so much more about. Like in COVID, like we were so hands on. Like the corner exchange, we had it's just one chef and one wok, and just the amount of people coming through. It was absolute chaos. But from there, we moved on to the food court in the Arndale. Then when the Arndale market reopened, we had the full sushi belt on the left-hand side of the whole unit. But maybe it was a little bit ahead of the curve because I think if we kept that, I think we would do quite well. And then we opened up on Cross Street and King Street West opposite San Carlo. But just from knowing that, going to these festivals, that there is a market for it and we are capable with the right facilities to do it. So, but it was a struggle going from one concept to another, especially in the food court. It is high footfall, but the people you're competing against is like, McDonald's, and Pizza Hut was there at the time.
If I see McDonald's, they say wings. It's going to be wings, No offense to McDonald's, but you know what I mean? I know what you're saying, because sometimes the people go there is young, and they prefer.
I think it's more the concept of a lot of people go with their families, and then the kids want the Happy Meals. So it's trying to reach into that kind of concept. But back then it was difficult to get word out as well, because the internet was still dial up and no social media and everything. I remember my parents telling me there were three good ways of trying to get your name out, especially when we were in the restaurant in the Chilahune, which was radio, newspaper. I think TV was too big for a small restaurant, but the third one is funny because my mum said is hairdressers. So my mum would...
Everybody talking, isn't it?
Exactly. So my mum would get a hair perm like twice a week.
Just
She hated it.
Have you been to Wings?
Yeah, just saying, oh, by the way, we just opened here. And then, you're strapped in and you're talking to them, and then they tell two friends and you get the Wayne's World.
If you want to know a story, you got to go to the hairdresser.
Yeah, exactly.
They know everything.
It was nice to know how, back then, how they drew concepts and workarounds through, the limited resources that they had. And then to be able to implicate that into today has been really helpful. Not just kind of like the work ethic and everything. And I'm sure everyone knew how hard my dad worked to try and get everything where he wanted it to be.
Because Chinese restaurant, they go, a lot of Chinese restaurant closed as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel during COVID was probably the first time I felt a little bit alienated out of the city. We kept a close eye on what was happening globally, so we prepared ourselves quite early on in January. But I don't want to say it's because we wanted to, because there was a little bit of stigmatism in terms of the Chinese restaurant. We should stay away. But I think we didn't feel it as bad as Chinatown because we're a little bit out the way there. But yeah, that was probably the first time I didn't really feel, because growing up at some great friends, growing up in Stockport, I never felt I was not from Manchester, not British at all. But I feel that was one of the first times I felt a little bit outside. But we're really lucky to have some really loyal customers and who we're fortunate enough to call, friends now. Even during the takeaway period during COVID, they would drive. We get orders from Blackburn where just because they want to check in on us, and people like yourselves, you came in a few times as well. Just trying to help us through these tough times.
So do you enjoy what you do? You want to change anything about?
Yeah, I definitely enjoy it.
Well, I want a real answer, not the one.
No. If you asked me, 10 years ago, I probably would say I'm not sure. Because my background is, I have a genetics degree and I worked in the NHS for about 5 years. So it's a very strange move for me to do. But I decided one day that I wanted to help out the family business. So went full time. And sometimes it was natural progression. Sometimes it was kind of like thrown into the role that I have. But I don't think I would change too much. I think I'm really lucky to have met the people I've met through just work. It is quite an exciting time for us now because we've managed to get through the difficult period and we've done our renovation. So we've been open for about 2 months now.
I think people want to know if them plates, they're still there.
It's funny
because when every time we come in there, even with my kids, look, who's here, and things like that. I'm sure, you used to take all the footballer. I remember I was once in there and was the Magnific 10 sat in your restaurant, like, or United. I'm sure United support fan, so I know many people hate me now, but I still support them. So Ferguson was there, and and I was so impressed, like, oh, look at them. So you're still part of that. The plate's still there. What have you done with them if you remove them?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, we did think about removing them, but
you left them.
They've just went back up last week. So the concept of the plates were when we first opened, we had, I think, 3 really large plates, and the idea if someone well known or a celebrity would come in, ask them to sign it on the way out. And I think within a few weeks it filled up. So we moved to individual plates, which we framed and put them on the wall. I think one of my favorites is Damien Hirst actually drew on one of the plates, but we couldn't put that one up because that's locked up somewhere. It's just like a photo of it that we have. But our designer, he's really great. Chris, he has a really good eye for detail, and I'm not too sure he was too keen on them either. And initially I was like, no, they had to go back on. But especially when we first reopened, I actually kind of half agreed with him, because it's just nice to have kind of a fresh concept. And also we did say we'd let the new interior breathe a little bit, see how things go. But he came in for dinner. We had dinner one time and he just heard how many people asking about the plate. So, okay.
So you put it back on.
Yeah.
So what do you think we should try from your menu?
Popular dishes would be sea bass, some steamed sea bass, crispy duck with pancakes. We also do Peking duck now, but need a pre-order because it takes a little bit of time to prepare. All of our dim sum is made in-house as well, so we've added a few new additions after the refurb. Even all our sauces are made in-house, original recipes. So yeah, we have quite a large menu, so I think there's things for everyone there.
I remember I took my mum to your restaurant, and Italian mums, they cook all the time, and I said to her, oh, let's get ready. Well, we go to eat out. And she was, hey, guys, where we going? He said, we got Chinese. He was, no, I don't eat Chinese. Because, she's Italian mums. And I said, no, Mum, don't worry about it. I know these people. It's going to be good. And then she was, she was like, good in. And I said, Mum, tell me what you want. And she chose the sea bass. She loved it. She was like, wow, it's so good, so fresh, so nice. And I said, see, Mum, it's not, because the Italian mentality about different foods is never welcome. You know what I mean? If I say to my mom, let's eat French, Spanish, whatever, I don't know, wow, what's wrong with Italian? What's wrong with pasta? What's wrong with, meatballs and stuff like that? And I go, but you need to try something else as well. So yeah, she was a bit like that. But when she come to yours and she had a sea bass, she loved it. She's still talking about.
No, I appreciate that. For me, that's what it's all about.
So soon you took over, was stayed the same and was changed?
I still feel that we're in the same niche as when we first opened. The biggest concept that we did was that even during COVID we didn't want to cut corners. So I remember one time it was difficult to get ribs. So I remember Vinny driving to about 6 different butchers just to make sure we get good quality ribs, because we didn't want to just find a substitution for it. So we want to keep it a good consistency. I kind of feel the restaurant a little bit more modern after the refurbishment. But I think the whole concept of it all, the main dining room, there's not too much flair, or it's just very simple, clean design, just so you're focusing on the actual dining experience. We try and keep the standard of service as consistent and as high as possible, which probably be our main focal point.
So what does it take to become a Manc?
I really
born here anyway. So
yeah, it's difficult for me to say, because I grew up our first house was in Salford by Strange Ways Prison, which was very different to the environment I'm now. But growing up now, I kind of feel that Becomingamanc would be, say if you're thinking of moving away, but you always feel that, Manchester's kind of your home where you go back to. Draw you back in. I think that's when you become a Manc, maybe. Just kind of have a more attachment to the city rather than just being here physically. Yeah.
And is there anything you would change in Manchester?
In Manchester?
Or make it better?
I think it's heading in a really good direction. I think the city, the landscape will change a lot again in the next 5 years. I have no complaints in the direction that kind of the surroundings are going. Maybe a better shopping centre.
No more shops. Just my wife and my dog is killing me. No more shops. Okay, so one more question for you. What have you learned from your dad? And you think is, because I've been talking to you, and on many questions, I always ask you, your dad. How do you feel about that? So I know what my son would say. Really? So I just want to know what you think.
Because I saw kind of all sides of what it took to run the business. I feel like I learned more, not just from his strengths, but also things that didn't go quite right. There are a lot of times when I was working where I thought there would be a better way to do this, but it's not my call to make. So that was one of the biggest pluses that we had when we took over, where I can just if I think of something, can implement it a lot quicker. From my mom, I learned it's a lot about balance. A little bit of luck.
Your mom was behind, your dad behind you now.
Yeah, my mom ran. So when we were in Cheadle and we moved to Manchester, my mum ran the Cheadle restaurant, and then she ran one of the takeaways as well. So my mum was. It's like I don't want to say, but it's like a typical Asian mum. The concepts of things are very, very stubborn and everything like that. But she kind of realized that, she wanted me to help out in the family business. Now she hates it. She wants me to get out. So, but she's always there to give me kind of like a balanced kind of feedback, and very about patience as well.
What was a big thing for your family, for your mom and dad, to pass on, trust you 100% with whatever they built over the years.
It wasn't all sunshine and rainbows for sure, but
in a young age, take something over that big is, it's quite, for you, it's impressive.
I appreciate that. But there are a lot of motivating factors. I have two sisters as well who kind of gone their own career paths. So I felt that, helping in the family business would facilitate that a bit more. In terms of, jumping from where it was into taking over, it was just literally learning on the fly, very uncomfortable, especially, I think my personality has changed a lot since then as well. But I also think that the more out of my comfort zone I am, the more things I'm learning. Like I don't know how you are with your refurbishments, but that was my first big kind of refurbishment project. It's 20 years of heritage there, and wondering if people would be receptive of it because they're so used to
maybe you can be, people can think you're the cause of ruin, wings, you know what I mean? It's not, don't get me wrong, it's not at all, but, when every movement you make is really reflect what was before. Thank you very much for coming to my podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Anytime, and then I'll see you the rest soon anyway.
Yeah, I'm soon.
Thank you.